when you take your labor and convert it into a product or a service that you own and or control, you now, and this is the phrase I tend to use, you own or control the means of production. This is everything. You want to own or control means of production, because when you own or control the means of production, you now dictate the rules. For example, because you used real estate, it's the easiest one to see. Hypothetically speaking, the US dollar goes away tomorrow. Well, instead of accepting reservations in US dollars, you could accept them in pounds of salt, if that's what's the new currency. And then convert same said salt to whatever it is that you needed it to be. You could accept reservations and get paid in Bitcoin, if that's what it took. You could accept reservations and get paid in whatever it is you needed to get paid in, so that you could continue to provide for your family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When the only thing you have to sell is labor, that's when you lose. You must have an asset because there's no other way to protect yourself. And the system of a business is the asset. So yes, while the business system has an expense known as rent, you don't own the property, you own the system. The system is the asset, even if you have to rent your location. So to make that clear. And then yes, you have correctly deduced that then continuing that cycle by taking the cash flow from the business and investing it into more assets is how you win the game. That's it. And you wash, rinse, and repeat repeatedly. So you hit the nail on the head. And that is why you hear me say, get more units. That is why I say get more units over and over and over again, because all it is giving you the means of production over and over and over again, so you can produce whatever it is that you need. And because that's how I believe my family will survive and to cut it all short, the two class of individuals that always survive a economic upheaval, hyperinflation, are real estate investors and business owners. Those two come out okay. That doesn't mean it wasn't chaotic, but they come out okay because they own or control the means of production. And when they do, they can now sell that service or product to someone else who needs it, period. And if you have that foundation, you're good. You're so good. But when you don't have it, trying to get it after your dollar has become worthless, because that's what you've transferred your energy, your labor into the currency, you can't unleash any power because the power has been sapped away. But if you store your labor, your energy inside of an asset, that now you got a shot. Now you got a shot. But if you don't learn to do that, or if you choose not to do that, or you choose to just, I'll just put my money in the bank, those are the people who get hurt the worst. All I can say is, here are the rules. Okay, let's operate and let's just now operate with correct knowledge, as opposed to assumptions of what we think is true and then have the rug out from under us, because it's not too late. And it's not too late because the dollar still buys stuff. So that now means you are the one who has to consciously, intentionally make efforts to turn your labor into assets. And now it may translate through dollars, but then what you do with those dollars is everything, which is why back, in the middle of 2020, when I saw what Jerome Powell and whatnot started saying, I was like, oh crap, that's why it was an emergency. I have to start telling you guys about this now, and we have to do something now so that you guys can begin to prepare and you just can begin to prepare, because it was accelerated. So literally 3 times more currency is now in circulation. If anybody starts redeeming and selling off the bonds overseas, that's when it'll start to fall apart fast.
And isn't that BRICS? Aren't they already starting to do that? The BRICS countries.
Yeah, but they've got to do it in a certain order or a certain way in order to trigger each of them getting afraid. They can organize and do it slowly as long as they want, and that's okay. That still gives us quote unquote time. But it's when someone rushes to the bank, so to speak, to do it all at once. That's when the triggering of it happens, and once fear is triggered, it's over.
So how does this affect our, like, for those of us who have generated some wealth and we have these cash value life insurance policies? How is that?
Got it. So remember what I've shown you to do. You put the money in there, but then you take it out and do something with it. So it's a way of putting yourself in a position on both sides. You're playing both sides of the balance sheet, because there's the, hey, if and when this happens, I need to have a plan. But if it doesn't happen, I still want to be okay. Right? So that's exactly why that's the role the cash value life insurance plays. It's a way to make sure that, hey, if everything I'm thinking about doesn't happen, we still good. And people still accept dollars? Great. I got a lot of those. And if it does happen, then cool. I've also got a large bevy of assets that I can use to generate an income from. Because you don't want to be on one side. I don't want to be on one side or the other. That's more risk than I can. Now you want to talk about not sleeping. I can't sleep then. I want to, and that's what gives me some peace, knowing that no matter which side of the quote unquote balance sheet wins, we have a path to eat, not like, be feudal lords or something, but to a path to eat. That's what I care about, is making sure that either way, we have a path to eat. And so long as we have a path to eat, then cool. And while the dollar's worth something, I'm going to keep buying more assets. We're not hurt by doing it or damaged one way or the other. It's just another financial instrument that helps accelerate your capacity to build your wealth.
I met this man, his name is Tyrone Davis. He owns a Maxwell Bank, and the bank that he owns has a partnership with another bank called Banks, Baanx, and it's a bank in London, and they're creating the first place where you can store your cryptocurrency, your gold and silver, all your assets in one place, and have it connected to a debit card. It hasn't happened yet, but they're rolling it out.
Yeah. Well, it's the only one now. As I said, the infrastructure has to change. It will evolve. And yes, you are 1000% right, and you're headed down the exact right track. Because that's exactly how you can begin to protect yourself in many different ways.